Usually around this time, leading towards Christmas, most of the big record labels release their big releases. And this is the time where I get more excited about the releases, and today is no exception. I've been looking forward to this for a while now. This is the Van Halen Collection II, referring to the second incarnation of the band when it was fronted by the Red Rocker Sammy Hagar. The set consists of their 4 number 1 albums, 5150, OU812, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, and Balance. That also includes a 5th disc of studio rarities. So, they kind of look like mini records. Thought that was cute. It does look, I remember having the vinyl back in the day, so it did look like this, and you did have the record, all the lyrics in the back. So a pretty good representation of what you originally had on vinyl back in the day. So really happy with that. Let's deal with some of the bad points first, or the major bad point that I have. Where is, the live album right here, right now? I heard it was remastered for Record Day. I thought it should be in here, in my opinion. It is part of the Sammy Hagar legacy. So I'm a little disappointed in that. The studio rarities. Granted, these are really good songs for the most part. You have Apolitical Blues, Balukatherum, forgive me if I said that wrong, which is a great instrumental. Crossing Over, which is a B-side to Can't Stop Loving You from Balance. Respect the Wind, Human Beings, which were from the Twister soundtrack. And also Human Beings went on to the Greatest Hits packages. It's About Time, Up for Breakfast, Learning to See, which was on the Greatest Hits package, Best of Both Worlds, which was a double disc Greatest Hits package, which had both Roth and Hagar's hits on there. So rarities, I'm not going to say really rarities. You've had them in some point or another, most of these songs. I know I had Apolitical Blues, excuse me. It was on the original release of OU812 on CD. Human Beings I had from the Greatest Hits package. Also, It's About Time, Up for Breakfast, Learning to See are from Greatest Hits package. So rarities, I'm going to say I question it. They're great, they're on here. I loved it. That's one of the reasons why I picked it up. It's great, especially Crossing Over. That's the one song I did not have, and I really love that song. Great song. Let's deal with this, with the controversy I'm seeing online right now is people are claiming it's a remix and not a remaster, and vice versa. If you want to get a better understanding of remixes and remasters, go listen to the Whitesnake albums that have been released over the last few years. David Coverdale has done a great job with this, where he has one disc, which is strictly the remaster, which is basically enhancing the sound, the vocals, in no way tampering with the original recording, except making it sound clearer. Remixing is when you start messing around with the recording. So you might change the drums, you might add something. You could, bring the vocals, change the vocals. So, like in the Whitesnake's case, some of the songs, the remix side, the album sounds a little bit more contemporary. So an album from 15 years ago kind of sounds like if it would be made today. And the remaster just makes it sound a whole lot clearer and fuller. For the Van Halens, I'm going to say it's a remaster. And the thing is, with the remasters, like I said, the instruments sound better and fuller for the most part. There's still a little, the bass sometimes in 5150, you can question that every once, depending on your ear. I believe they sound a little better, clearer. It's not louder. Let's get that clear. Because it's remastered doesn't mean, that's what they did remasters years ago. If you remember the Virgin Rolling Stones remasters, I think in the 90s or early 2000s, they just boosted up the treble and the bass till its fullest, so it was sounded distorted, and on your record, on your tuner, it went to the top, and you go, oh, it's so much louder, it must be better. Louder doesn't mean necessarily it's better. You want it to be clearer and have the instruments and the vocals sound the way they're supposed to sound. After listening to them, I think they sound a little better. I especially really went back to OU812. It was never my favorite album from them, and I've really learned to love this record again. So I think this is a really good job. I really like it. It's making me fall in love with the new. It's like falling in love with a new Van Halen album for me. So I like I said, I wasn't a huge fan. I liked it. Wasn't a huge fan. For me, we're always going to be 5150 and For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge were my favorites, and those are the ones I keep going back to. Balance, I hear a slight difference. The vocals, the instrumentation sounds a little better, but not much. For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, it sounds better. In a way, it sounds better. Hold on. This is the one that kind of, I have a mixed bag on that one. It sounds clearer, but I think they were going for a dirtier sound. They wanted to sound like the old Van Halen records, which didn't sound as clear and crystal. There was that dirty rock sound to it. And this was the closest that the Hagar incarnation of the band, sounded like the old Van Halen that we knew. But that remaster does slightly take away from that dirty sound, slightly. So I'm on the fence on that one. As for the rarities, I think they're a great inclusion. I was hoping for some other songs that they recorded for one of the albums and didn't make it, but I'm assuming that'll be a whole different set when they raid the vault, and we'll get to hear that. But the rarities overall is probably the biggest thing, the excitement for me. Because like I said, I never had Respect the Wind, and I've never had Crossing Over. Now, the original albums with Sammy Hagar were recorded without Pro Tools on analog equipment. So the remastering may be a little different. And so when they bring out the instrumentation and separate everything equally, you may hear things you never heard before. So that's why I think some people think it's a remix of this and not a remaster. But I've had the original vinyl, I've had the CD, and I have these. To my ear, this is strictly a remaster and no way near a remixing. Do some of these albums could use it? Yeah, maybe. I think OU812 and 5150 might need a little remixing. But again, Van Halen at the time, if he didn't like the sound of this album, he wouldn't release it. He had say in everything at this point. They were huge, and I don't think he'd release an album he wasn't happy with. Lastly, let's talk about how people are going to complain this is not the Roth era. I know. But I loved both. I loved Roth and I love Hagar. They're both different beasts, so I could never compare to do. That's like taking Journey and maybe Zeppelin and saying they're the same kind of band. No. It's a different beast. And Hagar and Roth are different beasts. I do think though the remasters for the Roth era were done a whole lot better and really capture their sound maybe slightly better than this set. But it is still a great remastering. If people thought it's going to be louder, you will be disappointed. It's not louder, but it's clearer. And there's a difference. Like I said, it's a remaster. It's not a remix and a remaster. It's a remaster to my ears. So I got what I got, and I know what I'm getting. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, it doesn't sound as loud as it should. It's not going to sound any louder. But it will sound clearer. You will hear the voice better. You will hear the instrumentation. You might even hear stuff you haven't heard before from the original pressing. And that's where I think the confusion sets in with this set. Is it a good set? I am glad I got it. I'm happy with it. And I have no regrets purchasing it. I got it for about $54 on Amazon CA. And I'm happy with it. It's a good set. My minor quibble is the live album should be on here. And it's not. And I believe that was the first set to be remastered with Hagar. So you'd think the first thing they did would be included in this set, but unless they're checking studio albums, the vault, live, to milk this for the next 20 years or whatever they're going to do with this. Who knows what they're going to do. But all in all, I'm happy with it. It depends on your ear and what's your expectation of what this will sound like. Because like I said, I heard a lot of people saying it doesn't sound as loud. It's not going to. It's never going to sound louder unless you put it louder. And you got to have a good set of headphones, I think, to appreciate this. And you got to have a stereo system. And if you're listening to it on Spotify doesn't have lossless sound, as far as I know. So you're not going to get the full effect of the remastering there. You actually need. This is one of the few times you will need to purchase this. If you have a stereo system or a turntable, that's when you'll get the full effect of this. If you stream it, I don't think you'll. I listened to a bit today, and I wasn't as impressed as when I put the CD on. But again, those are my ears. My thing is, I think it's worth it. Depends. Are you a Hager fan? If not, depends what you're looking for. But again, remember, this is not a remix. It will not be louder. You're not going to suddenly hear, Michael Anthony's vocals much better than, much louder than you did before, and you're going to go, oh my God, this is the way I envisioned it. No, it's the same way that it's on there, just this clearer, but it's in the same, setting. Like I said, the original song is not tampered with. The way it was recorded is the way it's recorded. It is clearer, not necessarily louder. Hopefully that makes it a little bit more clear for you. So some people would think remaster, remixes, because now there's the Beatles they're remixed by George Martin's son. So it may sound louder because they probably digitally remastered it, and they changed the recording. From what I'm understanding, they're changing the recording. The Beatles' original remasters are just clearer. Hopefully this regulates. Like I say, I'm going to stick to my ears say it's a remaster from what I'm hearing. But remember, I bought the album when it first came out. I bought the CDs when they came out, and I have these. I'm still saying it's a remaster. Hopefully you like this review. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Definitely would mean a lot to us. This is Steven with my initial thoughts on Van Halen Collection II, the Hager era. You let me know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. See you soon.